Welcome to Llama Mama, Episode 8, a podcast about loom knitting. I'm your host, Kayla. You can find me on Instagram at llama.mama.kayla. Thank you for joining me today. So I hadn't been making many videos lately. I've been dealing with lots of health issues and just kind of taking a break from life. It is what it is. But I'm trying to get back in the swing of things. I have been loom knitting, although I haven't been interacting. Well, I do interact on Instagram. I try to be very active on there. To me, Instagram is just less overwhelming than Facebook. So I do a lot of Instagram. But like I said, I've been dealing with a lot of health issues. Lots of testing going on. I did have, I think on my last video I might have mentioned some testing that I had, and I did have a scope, and they stretched my esophagus, and that was just made a world of a difference for me. I had forgotten what it felt like to be able to swallow. After they did it that afternoon, my family and I went out to eat at a Mexican restaurant, and I was able to swallow my food easily, and it was really different for me. So they said I'd probably have to have that done about every year, just depending on how it does for me. But so I'm enjoying that. Lots of other testing going on, and still waiting on some results and other things, but I've ended up having to get iron infusions, and I'm still waiting on that to kick in and get that energy. I don't know if it's gonna happen for me, but my iron had gotten really low. So I went in to get iron infusions. So we'll just see how that goes. Hopefully it's gonna make a difference for me, because I'm so ready to feel better. But today I wanted to talk about some knitting machines. My main thing that I do is loom knit, but I had been introduced to these knitting machines such as these, and the Addi knitting machines. I got this offline. I ordered it, and I made some things like stuffed animals and just different little plushies. Trying to think what I did make with this, but lots of little plushies and things like that. And in the beginning I didn't understand how to work this properly, and the yarn that it liked, I tried to use any of my worsted weight. I never tried bulky, but any of my worsted weight yarn, and it does not like certain types of yarn. But I think that's true about all knitting machines. You have to just try and find the ones that your machine likes. This one in particular likes Red Heart yarn, not Red Heart variegated. I think I really stripped out the gears trying to use variegated yarn, but it does like Red Heart yarn. But not really I know some people use a lot of Vanna's Choice. I didn't have Vanna's Choice when I was trying to use this, so I was using tried using some Craft Smart, and it does not do Craft Smart at all either. And the variegated Red Heart, looking around to see different types of yarn, because I can't think right now. I can never think when I'm on the spot. But anyway, I've used this machine. I've enjoyed it. I've made lots of little stuffed animals and plushies with it. And then I got this machine from Michael's with a 60% off coupon. So it made it, reasonably priced. And I've made a few plushies with it, and not much of nothing else. This particular machine does like Red Heart yarn. I haven't tried variegated. I wanted to be very careful with this one as not to strip the gears, because I understand it's plastic gears in it and they can like strip out. So I've just been very gentle with this, and when I'm turning it, if it feels like it's straining at all, I stop it. With this one, I tried to force it to keep going, and I probably stripped the gears in this one by doing that. So I've been very careful with this, only using yarns that it does like, you know, like Red Heart. Variegated, I haven't even tried in this one because I knew that it didn't work in that one. So anyway, I've enjoyed this. I've made some plushies on this one, infinity scarves, a few things like that. So every month I get an infusion treatment. I drive to Shreveport, Louisiana, which is like 2.5 hours from me, and I get an infusion treatment, which is 5 hours in a chair with the IV and medication going in you. And although our insurance, Blue Cross Blue Shield, pays its part and then we pay our part, the hospital has some kind of program there. It's kind of like a research type program where it doesn't pay any of my medical bills, but if I enrolled in this little research, one day when I was getting the infusion, this lady come by and asked me would I be interested in doing their little survey type thing, and if I would just fill out a form every 6 months while I'm getting my infusion, I got a $25 Amazon card. So I was like, sure, I'll fill out the form. It doesn't hurt anything. It's just asking questions about what I'm capable of doing, how the medication makes me feel after the infusion, things like that. It's real simple, and it doesn't take long to do, especially since I'm sitting in the chair 5 hours. What's giving up 10 minutes to fill out a form? So I've been doing that, and I think one time I might have bought some pots and pans, maybe, with one of my gift cards, and I can't remember what I've spent gift cards on. But then I just save them, and so I was just saving up my gift cards, and I was using this one day, and I was very, very frustrated with it, and so I was looking up Addi, and I realized I had enough gift cards to get an Addi Express, and so I was really excited about that. So I did. So I was able to purchase this Addi Express with my gift cards. This is really, really nice. It has a counter on it. It's just so smooth. And I am being super careful with it, even though it does have plastic on the outside, the teeth and such. It's metal gears on the inside, where this one has plastic gears on the inside, and from what I understand, they chip away as you're working, especially when you're stressing it out using yarn it doesn't like. So this particular one is a fun little machine, and I did notice when I was in Shreveport last time at Joann's, because we don't have a Joann's here, they did have these on clearance for $19, and I thought about getting one and being very careful with it. But I didn't that particular day. A storm was coming. I needed to hurry and get out. So I didn't really just take time to think about it. And then I realized I could order this one. So I'm so glad I did. I've been making lots of things with this. Plushies, dolls, different stuffed animals. I've really enjoyed it. So using this again, and some scarves, yeah, I forgot that. Using this again prompted me to think about this one again. So I pulled it out. Let me kind of move some of these around. So I pulled this back out, and I know people make hats on the Addi King, which is about the same size as this. It may be the same number of pegs, or it may be 1 or 2 numbers of pegs off. So I looked up online. I'm sorry, I'm going to take a cough drop. I'm sorry about that, but I don't want to keep just coughing and coughing. Excuse me. So I looked up to how many rows make an adult hat, and I made a hat using 60 rows. It was this one. And I picked purple and yellow because we live in Louisiana and LSU is the rage. So anyway, I made this hat. It's supposed to be adult size. It didn't fit anyone in my house. It stretches out, but it just didn't fit anyone in my house. And it is reversible. You can do it yellow with purple. It's supposed to be an adult size hat. So I thought, I know you can make all different size hats on this. So I thought, well, let me try to make one a little bit larger. This is 60 rows purple and 60 rows of the gold to make it a reversible hat. And it's supposed to be an adult size hat. So I did one. I thought I could add 10 rows, so it'd be 70. And then I thought, well, let me just do an 80 because one of my sons would wear it if it was a slouchy hat. So I did 80 rows of purple and 80 rows of gold and made this hat here. It doesn't fit anyone in my house. So I know some people do, and I mean, I'm really just stretching that out, trying to stretch it out, but it always goes back to this skinny little hat. I know a lot of people do hats on this and donate to charity. I'm assuming they're just donating children's hats because I just don't see this fitting an adult. Maybe a teenager, which one of mine is a teenager and it still doesn't fit him. So I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure why my hats don't fit any adults. But I think that makes great hats. So I looked online and kind of searched around and came up with what I thought would be good sizes. So I ended up making some newborn hats. I made a stack of little newborn hats, and they're the cutest little things. And they're all reversible. It could be a white hat with a blue cuff, or blue cuff with a white hat. So I made just different colors, combinations. So I made a stack of newborn hats, and then I made a stack of 3 to 6 months, and even a little red and white one. And like I said, all these are reversible too. I would love to try these on someone to see how they really compare. And then I made a stack of 6 to 12 months. And I used all baby colors. I had a lot of the Lime Brand's Pound of Love. That's what I used on all these. This machine did fine with that yarn. So then I was looking to make a little bit older hats. So I found, oh, I'm so sorry. Django, hush baby. Hush, Django. There's an dog outside barking that Django can hear, so he's barking at that dog. And then Sophia jumped up, woke up over here, and she's barking at Django barking. Django, hush. So anyway, then I ended up making some hat size for like 1 to 3-year-olds. I've put sticky notes on them so I can keep them all lined up. So 1 to 3-year-olds, and then this I would say would fit 4-year-olds and up to maybe preteen. So I'm just going to continue to make some hats in that size, those 2 sizes there, to add to my hat collection. We'll see how that goes. I would like to save up my Amazon cards next to get an Addi King. I know it's like $200 and something. This one I did find on Amazon for $120. So, and I had gift cards that added up to like $125, so that was great. So that's my knitting machine story that I've been working on. Try to move these hats out of the way. Some other things that I have finished is I made these little dolls right here. A little bear. I guess it's like a doll with a bear hat on or whatever. But it turned out really cute and it's so soft. And then I made one that's a bunny. And she has a little bunny tail. And just the difference in yarns is these are both the same number of rows. But this is a slightly thicker yarn, I believe. Or, well, I don't know, because that should have made it bigger with it being a thicker yarn. But I can tell this yarn feels thicker. I don't know why they turned out just a little bit slightly different when they're the same number of rows. But they turned out really cute. I like them. So that's some, and I've got a whole stack of the same style doll that I'm working on over here. These are just going to be babies. You know, I gotta tie their head off. So this is their legs and their diaper and their shirt, and I'm making arms. Here's the green one. I'm making arms to go on them, and I like to make my arms movable, so it'll be like that. So that's what I'm working on this week. Well, today and some more days this week. Probably finish those up tomorrow or the next day. I've made a few little small things. These little bumblebees. These could be made into keychains or put on backpacks as backpack pulls or purse pulls, any kind of bags. This one has one wide stripe and this one has little stripes, but they turned out really cute. They work up real quick. They're easy to make. And then just playing around, trying to get my pattern correct. I've been making eyeballs. I don't know. These could be keychains or backpack pulls too. So I've been making eyeballs. This one was my first one. No, this one was my first one. And I think I got the iris too big on it. And that was one of my latest ones. And the pupils are still big. I haven't figured out how to get them smaller. But I did get the iris smaller. So these are eyeballs. I needed an eyeball for our upcoming project, so that's why I started making these eyeballs. Here's another finished project. It's a purse that I made with some yarn bee yarn that I got at on the Hobby Lobby clearance. It's a 7 jumbo. And I used the 41 Nifty Knitter, and to me the Nifty Knitter is slightly heavier than, say, the Loops and Thread 41 loom, and with that one being a slightly heavier loom, and then this number 7 jumbo yarn on it, that project got really heavy for me. my hands were just like aching and hurting so bad. I kept having to take breaks from it before I could finish. And at the end, I was just right down here. I only had just a few more rows to go before I could to bind off. But I ended up having to take several days off from it because it was just too heavy for me to handle. But I like this purse with a built-in handle. It turned out really cute. It's really roomy on the inside. It doesn't need lining because it's such a thick yarn. It doesn't, when you put things in it, really doesn't weigh it down. And I had this little charm thing. I had got it either Michael's or Hobby Lobby's on clearance one time. She has a little camera, so I stuck that on there for decoration. And I have some more purchases in progress. I've been making lots of scarves, but I haven't finished them. There'll be novelty scarves, so I need to here's a little hint of what one might be. But I gotta go back and just sit down and work on the faces of them. I made some of the items that go on the scarves, and that's when I needed an eyeball, because one of the scarves needs an eyeball. So that'll be fun. So I've got to sit down and just work on those and do the items that go on them. I hadn't been in a really hurry to do it because it's been like in 100 and something degrees here. 103 or so, and like with heat index it's been like 114 degrees. So nobody wants to even think about scarves when it's that hot. But I will get back to working on that. Something I laid out to talk about. This is off-white, and it may have a different name than that. I get it at Michael's. It's Red Heart yarn. It's an off-white. I want to guess at the name of it might be, but I'm really not sure, and I don't want to say it wrong. But anyway, it's Michael's carries this off-white and Red Heart yarn. I've been using this for skin tones and such, and then I came across this one at Hobby Lobby, which is a bit darker skin tone and a flesh color. I really like this one better. So if I'm making something and it really needs a fair skin, I'll use this one. And if it needs a little bit slightly darker skin, I'll use that one. And then I have some browns and some coffee and mocha colors, tans, that I also use for skin tones. But I just wanted to share this if anyone was looking for an option. It's Crafter's Secret, and this one is called Dark Ivory. And this is the off-white, or maybe ivory, or maybe Aran or something. I'm not really sure, but from Michael's. But I had a friend to come out one day and brought me, she was coming over from a town over, and I said, hey, would you mind stopping at Hobby Lobby and picking me up 2 skeins of yarn? And she doesn't know anything about yarn, so I just said, when you get in the store, call me, and I'll tell you exactly what to do. So, she easily found it, and so she brought me out 2 skeins, and the next day she had called to ask me something, and I said, well, I've used up one of those skeins of yarn, and she was like, already? So, I go through that pretty fast, making stuffed animals and dolls, and anything that I need flesh with. I still use this one some too, if it's a very, very fair-skinned. So, and I think that's all the projects that I've finished recently. I may have some more finished projects over that I just didn't pull out for now. But I kind of come up with an idea. I had lots of projects on looms that had been just stuck to the side, or as Terry from Yarn Joy podcast says, sleeping projects. I had plenty of sleeping projects, Terry. but I had decided to pull my projects out about a week ago, and I was just going to work my projects and get them off the loom. Or if it was a project that I had started and decided that I didn't love that project, just frog it, get it off the loom and wrap my yarn up to free the loom up. And so that's what I did. I finished several projects. I think I only frogged one, and that was a hat I had started, and then I decided that I was never going to wear that hat, and if I didn't like the hat, then probably no one else would either. So I just frogged it, wrapped that yarn up. No, I didn't. I decided to make an infinity scarf with that yarn, and that's one of the, here it is. On a video before, I did show this yarn that I was making a hat out of, and then and I had even made this as the brim and started this as a hat. And I was looking at that and made the brim, and I got on the hat probably about that far, and I was using the KB fine gauge loom, and I decided that I really did not love that hat, that I didn't want to finish it because I didn't think I'd ever wear it, and if I didn't like it, probably nobody else would either. So I pulled it off there, and I used my large knitting machine, and I made an infinity scarf. So I just got to sew these ends together. Sew them together as such like that, so then it'll be a continuous loop for an infinity scarf. And I do love the way it turned out for this. So anyway, I did free up several looms. I still have a few more projects on looms that I need to work through, but in getting projects off the looms and stuff like that, I have a box of finished projects that just need a touch more to be called done. So I'm just gonna embarrass myself and show this big old box of projects. And I'm gonna set this down because I don't want to knock it off and break it. So, and to embarrass myself and to put myself on the spot so that I have to finish these, I'm going to show my box of almost finished projects. Some of these projects are so close to being done. It's a shame I have not done them. Such as this watermelon purse. I bought the beads to add to this, and I was going to make it a drawstring purse and then maybe put a strap on it. And I just hadn't finished it for no reason. I have no excuse. So I'm going to make myself finish that. This little purse, little girl's purse, is finished, except I want to make something to go on it, like pom-poms or something to go on it, and I just haven't done it because I've just gotten lazy. And same thing with this, is a finished purse that I just need to, no, I was adding some details to this right here, and I've made those details, I just haven't sewed them on. It's just laziness. Oh, here's a hat that I did finish. No, I haven't finished it because I have something that I'm going to sew on it. That's right. I have something I'm sewing on that. And I've made a couple other things that I'm sewing on it, but I haven't finished it. This is another purse, and I have things I'm going to sew on it. Plus, I need to make a strap for it. Oh, here's a hat that I did finish. This is a finished object. And I had never worked with this yarn before. It is from Hobby Lobby. I got during that big clearance sale. I don't know. I'll have to look for the name of that yarn later. But I'd never worked with that yarn before, and you can't pull on that yarn very hard, or it will just like come apart. And when I was working with it, and I did pull on it as I was purling, and I pulled through. No, it was at the end when I was doing the drawstring bind off. The yarn just like ripped apart. I was shocked. So this is a finished object. I'm not going to show you all these unfinished projects, but I'll just show you a few. It's another purse. I just need to throw it up at the bottom and maybe add something to it. I have lots of little doll figures that I've made that I just need to decide who they are. They have faces. I still have this doll that I just don't know who it is yet. I need inspiration. I had this on my desk for a long time, just staring at it, waiting on the inspiration to decide what to turn it into and who it should be, but it still hasn't hit me on that. But I have lots of dolls made that either just need some arms put on them, faces, hair. Some of them just need to be sewn together. I was toying with the idea to make baby rattlers. So I have some of those to make. My rag dolls. I have several of these made up. This one just needs its face put on, its skirt tied. I don't know why I haven't done it. I have lots of little mermaid dolls in here. And lots of, this is going to be Frida Kahlo. So I have lots of doll bodies that I just need to stuff. I have her arms made and everything. I just need to stuff her and make her. But I have some pilgrims I was making. So I just need to do those things. So that's why I showed you the box. Here's another infinity scarf that I just need to sew together. So I'm going to get that done. That's what I'm going to work on. I'm not going to start any more projects. I'm really not. I'm going to work on this box, completing these projects. Like some of them just need a tiny little thing done to them. So they'll be complete. And I do have to still loom knit some arms for these. I have a few arms made, but some of them still need arms. So we'll loom knit those arms, and I do have a little project here I was working on. So I'll probably, do a tiny bit of loom knitting, but I'm not going to start any new projects. Some of these may have a few things that need to be loom knitted as to finish the project. So that's what I'm definitely going to do. It's just no more starting projects for me until I get a good bit of this done. So this week it is hot. Like I said, it's just hot as it can be here. So we're not doing a whole lot of nothing except just hanging out around the house. Because it's too hot to go anywhere. Like last night I went to the grocery store at 12 midnight just because I can't take the heat of the day. So I do have to get out Thursday. We homeschool, and our homeschool co-op registration is that day. I had told Terry from Yarn Joy, Terry at Yarn Joy Podcast, that I haven't even wanted to think about homeschooling or getting our materials together for the next year. I was going to wait till later on to do that, and like right after I told her, like a few days later, someone told me that our co-op registration was in July, and normally it's in June, and so I was just like, what? So it's this week. So I've looked online and picked out his classes and such, and we have to go register for co-op this week on Thursday. So other than that, not a lot going on in our family, except just trying to stay cool because it's been hot. But anyway, thanks for joining me, and I'm gonna get off here and work on some of these projects. Check back with me later in the week to see how my projects are going. Thank you. See you later.